Imagine a world where dragonflies had wingspans larger than eagles, where forests of giant mushrooms towered 40 feet high, and where the entire planet was one massive, steaming jungle with no ice anywhere. This isn't science fiction. This was Earth for billions of years before humans ever existed. For 99.9% of Earth's history, our planet was completely alien to anything we know today. No grass, no flowers, no mammals, just endless strange worlds that would make alien planets look familiar by comparison. Today, we're taking a journey through 4 billion years of Earth's most incredible lost worlds. From toxic purple oceans to forests made of fungi. From air so thick you could barely breathe to creatures so massive they'd crush modern elephants like insects. This is Earth before humans, and it's more incredible than any movie ever made. Let's start 3.5 billion years ago, when Earth looked like something from another galaxy. The oceans weren't blue, they were purple. The entire planet was covered in purple bacteria that used a completely different form of photosynthesis than plants do today. There was no oxygen in the atmosphere. It was mostly methane, ammonia, and carbon dioxide. The sky was orange-red, and if you could somehow survive here, you'd see green sunsets instead of red ones because of the thick, toxic atmosphere. This purple world lasted for over 1 billion years. Imagine that. Longer than complex life has existed, Earth was essentially one giant purple ocean with a poisonous sky. And yet, around 2.4 billion years ago, something revolutionary happened, and it nearly destroyed all life on Earth. Tiny blue-green bacteria called cyanobacteria started producing oxygen as waste. To most life forms at the time, oxygen was poison. This great oxidation event was actually Earth's first mass extinction. The purple oceans turned blue-green, then finally blue as we know them today. But this catastrophe created something amazing: the ozone layer. For the first time in Earth's history, life could survive on land instead of hiding underwater from deadly radiation. Still, this was a world you wouldn't recognize. No continents as we know them, just scattered volcanic islands and endless oceans. And life was still microscopic. But change was coming. Jump forward to 400 million years ago, and Earth had finally grown its first forests. But these weren't trees. They were giant mushrooms called prototaxides that grew up to 40 feet tall and 3 feet wide. Picture walking through a forest of massive fungi, some taller than telephone poles, with no leaves rustling in the wind, just the sound of spores drifting through the air like snow. The only trees were actually giant ferns and primitive plants that looked more like oversized moss. There were no flowers, no grass, no fruits or nuts. The ground was covered in primitive mosses and early fungi. And in this silent fungal world, the first animals were starting to crawl onto land. But these weren't anything like modern animals. They were giant arthropods, essentially land-dwelling relatives of lobsters and scorpions. 300 million years ago, Earth became a world of giants. The oxygen levels were 35%, compared to 21% today, which meant arthropods could grow to impossible sizes. Dragonflies, called Meganeura, had wingspans of 2.5 feet. Imagine a dragonfly the size of a hawk. Millipedes grew 8 feet long and 2 feet wide, slithering through forests like armored buses. But the real monsters were the Arthropleura, giant, centipede-like creatures that reached 12 feet long and weighed 100 pounds. They were vegetarian, but imagine encountering one in a dark forest. The entire world was a hot, humid swamp. There were no seasons, no ice caps, no deserts. From pole to pole, Earth was one massive, steaming jungle where giant fungi mixed with the first true trees. And the sounds? This world would have been full of buzzing, clicking, and crawling sounds as giant insects ruled the land. 252 million years ago, Earth nearly died completely. The Permian-Triassic extinction, called the Great Dying, wiped out 96% of all marine life and 70% of land life. Massive volcanoes in Siberia erupted for nearly 1 million years, filling the atmosphere with toxic gases. Acid rain fell constantly. Ocean temperatures reached 104 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to kill most marine life. But from this devastation came something incredible: the age of dinosaurs. The Triassic period began Earth's most famous chapter. But even this world was alien compared to today. There were no flowers yet, no grass, no modern mammals, just giant ferns, conifers, and cycads, creating a landscape that looked like a prehistoric park. 140 million years ago, something beautiful happened that changed Earth forever. The first flowers bloomed. Before this moment, Earth was green and brown. But flowering plants exploded across the landscape, creating the first colorful world. And with flowers came bees, butterflies, and the complex ecosystems we recognize today. Grass didn't exist until 60 million years ago, less than 100 million years before humans appeared. Before grass, there were no prairies, no savannas, no lawns, just forests and wetlands everywhere. The world was still incredibly warm. Palm trees grew in Alaska, and there were no ice caps anywhere on Earth. Crocodiles lived near the North Pole, and the ocean levels were 600 feet higher than today. 66 million years ago, everything changed in a single day. An asteroid 6 miles wide slammed into Earth with the force of billions of atomic bombs. The impact created a crater 120 miles wide and threw so much debris into space that it rained molten rock across the entire planet. Forests burst into flames on multiple continents simultaneously. When the dust settled, the age of giant reptiles was over. But this cleared the way for mammals to evolve, and, eventually, for us. For 4 billion years, Earth was home to worlds more alien than anything in science fiction. Purple oceans under orange skies, forests of giant mushrooms, dragonflies the size of hawks ruling steaming jungles. Humans have existed for just 200,000 years, barely a blink in Earth's history. We've only seen one tiny snapshot of what our planet can become. The next time you walk through a forest or see a flower, remember, you're seeing the latest chapter in a 4 billion year story of constant, incredible change. What lost world would you most want to visit? The purple Earth? The mushroom forests? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe to explore more of our planet's incredible hidden history.